So they do that. That was one of the longest. The other longest, not being able to sleep. Literally. Like, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, you just cannot sleep.
Hmm.
So I had to get on sleeping pills and stuff like that. And yeah, it works. It kind of works. But it's like you'll never sleep the same. But eventually, like I said, after like 8 months or so, it went away.
Who do we have the pleasure of speaking with?
Sky.
Sky. I love your smile, Sky.
Thank you.
How old are you, Sky?
29. I'll be 30 in July.
How old do you feel?
Some days I feel like I'm 25, and some days I feel like I'm 70.
Is that mentally or physically?
A little bit of both.
Why is that?
Yeah, I do have like some physical problems. You know, like first, losing my leg. But honestly, the feeling like really older part, usually that has to do with when going through like withdrawals and stuff. I feel like I'm like 7 years old, can't move, can't move around.
Where you from, Sky?
Eldersburg right now, but I was born and raised in Baltimore.
What was your childhood like?
Oh, it was definitely not exactly the greatest. So I grew up with an abusive stepdad that was mentally and physically abusive and just that shit crazy. And he literally thought he was a devil. And so yeah, I went through that. So as soon as I turned 18, I dipped, moved right out of the house and left. So,
Where'd you go from there?
From there, I actually moved in with the guy that I was with at the time. We were engaged, so I moved in with him and his parents.
What was that experience like?
It was actually pretty good. Yeah, at first, eventually, me and his mom kind of started like butting heads over dumb like little shit. Like his mom was just very like bossy and like I don't really know the word cocky and like stuff like that, and just some of the things she said I didn't agree with. Like his sister got engaged like a day before we did, and is older, and she would tell him that like we can't get married before her because it would cause the family, the whatever, to come down, and they wouldn't be there for her wedding. Even though I was like, we're just gonna get like a little like courthouse type thing, but like have like pastor of the church I was in at the time just like do it somewhere like near like a creek or something, but like nothing big, not like with a bunch of people. We'll do that like later. And yeah, just controlling stuff. So eventually we moved out. I convinced him to move out and we got our own apartment. He didn't want to at first. He was like a big baby. When I moved in, his dad was still doing his laundry. He did our laundry, and I was like, look, I was like, I can take it from here. I was like, I'll do it. It's okay. Like,
Did you grow up with any brothers and sisters of your own?
yes. So I'm actually the seventh out of eight, but some of those are step brothers and sisters. So, and I didn't get to have them in my life. Like my stepdad, like I said, he was crazy and abusive. He had 2 kids with one girl and then 2 kids with another girl, and lost like all 4 of them. Eventually he found them and got contact with them, so I did get to meet them. And one of them, which is the only boy that he has, his name is Matt. He's actually still currently actively involved in the family. But other than that, with my mom, I had my older brother and my older sister. Even though my older brother, she kind of like got rid of when I was younger, because he's really badly autistic, and they just couldn't deal with it, so they put him in a group home. So I mainly grew up with my older sister, and then my little sister I grew up with completely. My older sister's 5 years older than me. My little sister's 7 years younger than me. So.
What's your relationship with your siblings like now?
Oh, it's actually really good. Like my little sister though, she's 7 years younger, so she's 21, I'm 22. She's off doing her own thing. She's always busy, She's doing great though. She's honestly like doing really great. She's got a job, fiance now, like She's doing really good, but she's always busy and stuff. Yeah, I understand. My older sister, we're really, really close. We actually have matching tattoos and everything.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but unfortunately, she lives in Tennessee right now because the guy she was married to is in the army.
Mm.
So they had to relocate. But, you know, we video chat and talk. My brother, we're not really like close, but we do talk. Yeah.
That's cool. That's real cool. So I guess you could talk to them whenever you want to.
Yes. Yep.
Real sweet. And what has you out here in Baltimore right now?
Drugs and addiction. I literally like pretty much put myself out here. So, which I was talking to this lady with the Safe Harbor program, I believe it's called, and they said they will give me a ride home, and so I can go home here soon. But of course, I wanted to make sure that I had enough drugs to take them with me, so I'm not running right back and put myself back in the same situation, unfortunately.
When did you first start doing drugs?
So, first time I smoked weed was when I was 14. First time I ever tried like any pills or anything was when I was 16. And then I was kind of like steal like my parents like tramadol and stuff. And then I got Lyme disease when I was 18 and got prescribed tramadol. And I would abuse it to get like high and then be out for 2 weeks and be sick. Well, I didn't realize that like it was an opiate and that I was dope sick until I was talking to my friend who was a heroin addict, and I told her and said, I feel like I have like this sickness, like almost like the flu or whatever, like a sickness or whatever that just won't go away for some reason. But whenever, you know, I take my medicine and all, like it just like masks it or whatever, so then I don't feel it. Like she's like, what medicine are you on? And I was like, tramadol. She's like, Sky, you're dope sick. And I was like, what? So I actually took the initiative to go to Florida for 2 weeks with my grandma's so that I wouldn't have like more of the temptation to get it filled and all, so I could get off of it because I didn't want to keep running back and forth with that life. But then I ended up kind of like relapsing and doing some more tramadol. I want to say when I was like 20. And I was with a different guy at the time, and he knew this too, and it wasn't long after I don't want to say convinced me, he kind of convinced me to try heroin, but like kind of, because like, it's still my choice, it was still like my decision to follow through with it, but he totally lied. He's like, my mom said she was an addict, said it only takes 3 consecutive days. He said, your mom lied, like I did it for a whole year and quit cold turkey and had no withdrawal symptoms. My mom also told me if I took acid, I would try to jump off a building thinking I'd fly. I tried acid with him and that didn't happen. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe he's right. Even though, come on, I should have known better. Like, I really should have, especially with already going through the pill thing. So, yeah, I did heroin with him and couldn't really tell if I liked it or not because it made me like really sick and throwing up. And so I was like, oh, let me try again the next day because my body will be maybe like a little more like adaptive to it. Same thing. It's like, let me try again the next day, and it never stopped. It never stopped from there. So I was like full on blown heroin addicted by 2021-ish.
When you first tried the heroin, was it actually with a needle or did you sniff it?
No, we definitely sniffed it for a while, and how the needle even came about because my ex, he always said, we're not going to go there. Like, 'cause once you go there, you can't go back, and it's worse, and all this. So, basically, we were in a hotel staying with one of our friends, Chad, and we were all sick, and I wake up to, at the end of the bed, and I'm like, I had just fallen asleep, too, for, like, not long, and I'm like, what did you just do? And he's like, oh, like, we just got a morphine 30 from Kay's mom. And I was like, where's mine? And he's like, oh, I did it all. Well, our roommate shot up. So I was like, well, I'm going to do the residue on his spoon, then which I'd have to shoot it up. And when I did, I actually felt like this rush, and it's literally just residue from a pill. So I was like, wow, I was like, if that feels like that, I wonder what heroin feels like being shot up. I was like, I want to try it just one time, and then we don't have to do it again. So we tried it one time, and I was like, oh, we can conserve, because instead of having to do this much snorting every day, we could just shoot this much and be alright. Like, we could save money and conserve, and downhill from there.
The first time you actually shot up, were you able to do it yourself, or someone had to do it for you?
No, he had to help me. So I kept poking myself and poking myself and poking myself. And he was like, just let me help you. He's like, let me do it. He's like, I can't stand here and watch you just hurting yourself just over and over. I'm like, okay, because actually, believe it or not, I was and still am terrified of needles, especially IVs. I mean, literally full on 2-year-old fit at the hospital to get an IV. Like, insane. So especially when somebody else is coming at me with it, it was like, no. So, yeah, it's like very hesitant, but I let him do it. And then, he would do it for me for like a little while, and then we had a friend that would do it, and eventually, I think it was our friend that kind of taught me, like, how to do it more, like, on myself, because I was practicing, but, like, kind of getting it and kind of not. He taught me more of how to do it myself, and then, yeah.
So what drugs are you currently taking?
Crack cocaine and heroin, but the heroin has xylazine now, too, so, yes.
Since you first started taking these hardcore drugs, what's the longest time you've been drug-free?
Actually, almost an entire year. And that was, I was living out in Frederick County, and I was coming down, and I was only coming down getting my own personal stuff. And, like, if I had a friend or whatever that needed some, I would sell it to them. Because up there, it goes for $20 a pill. Down here, it's $3 to $6 a pill. So, of course, I'd do it so I could support my habit. But it wasn't, like, often or anything like that. It was really every, like, once in a blue moon. Well, a friend of mine was like, hey, I've got a friend that needs blah, blah, blah. And I served him, and it was cool. Next time I met him, he took me down here, and we got, and it was cool. Then the third time I met him, I didn't have anything. So I crushed up, like, trazodone potassium pills and gave it to him. It's just like, hey, this is like really shitty, but when you take me down later, whatever, I'll hook you up and like give you extra and make up for it. Next thing you know, 2 weeks later, I'm getting my house raided. So he was a confidential informant.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So they charged me with distribution of heroin, fentanyl, like all this shit. And I kept telling them like it's fake, like it wasn't even real drugs, like it's fake. And actually, by the time I went to court, they wanted me to do drug court too. And by the time I went to court, like for the final court date, no more postponements, they finally got the lab results in. So they were like, okay, so now that the lab results came in, it's going to be a different charge. And since it's a different charge, would you like a different plea deal? And I was like, well, of course I'd like a different plea deal. And mind you, this is all in circuit court still because it's distribution charge, so it's still all in circuit court. So yeah, I got a new plea deal, and they still want me to do drug court and all, but I'd been clean for almost a year, and my sister wrote an amazing, character letter for me, and my family was there and everything. So the judge actually was nice enough to not make me do drug court and just put me on. They charged me, like the official charge, they couldn't charge me with selling fake drugs. They only charged me with the needle that they found on me when I got arrested, and then the needle they found in my house. It was more than one. Each needle charge carries 4 years, where a drug charge, possession of heroin, carries 1. So, but she hit me with the max. She gave me 4 years backup time for each needle charge, so 8 years backup time, 8 years probation, and yeah.
So were you in jail that entire year fighting that charge, or you was just,
Nope,
I guess, had to stay drug free to try to beat that charge? Were they giving you like
Yep.
drug tests regularly?
Yep. So, basically, they let me out immediately on like a bond that like you don't have to pay or whatever because I had warrants in other counties. So, and that's where I spent the 42 days was in a different county for most of it, and then 3 days in the other county. And in one of the counties, I was on pretrial supervision. So yeah, I had to get drug tested very, very regularly. And then with the Frederick County, the distribution one, I was on probation. I go see my probation officer very regularly. And then I was in a like an outpatient program, outpatient IOP program, stuff like that. So yeah, with that, that was all. Yeah.
So after that year, what made you relapse? Like, why didn't you just want to continue to stay clean?
Oh, so I relapsed during COVID. So once COVID hit, basically, they made sure we had to only report to probation through phone instead of going in. So I actually kept up good though with that for a while, actually a long while, and I was going through, and it's not really even a good excuse either because honestly, part of me wanted to take advantage of the situation of not having to report and go get high. And I'm sorry, look at that cat on the roof. So when I would go to my probation officer towards the end, like before they actually made sure I was on the phone, I was literally manipulating the mouth swab test. It's a mouth swab that they do out there, and you fill it up with your saliva. Well, before I take it out of my mouth, I pressed it against my tongues where it all came out and put it in there and called it inconclusive. And he'd be like, oh, like, you're not using it right. And I'm like, no. He's like, I believe you tell me the truth because before that, when I was using, I told him every time. I'd go in there and I was wilding out. I went in there and I was like, he's like, where are you going to test positive for? I'm like, Suboxone, THC, crack, heroin, Molly, like, all kinds of shit. And he was just like, and I literally begged him to put me in jail or put me in a court-ordered rehab because I couldn't stop. Like, that was before all that though. But yeah, so part of me wanted to take advantage of the situation that I didn't have to report and just like get high. The other part of me was mentally just going through a lot of stuff. I was having issues with my husband and like him cheating on me, especially with his ex-girlfriend, and like paying her $40 to do sexual favors for him and stuff. So I kind of literally turned psycho, and like I'll be like a little private investigator, a little cop, I swear. And I would even sometimes take more Adderall so I could stay up all night and all day going through every little thing of his. Like legit psycho, like going through everything on his computer, everything on his phone, every single email, like trying to find this, trying to find that, and like just find like all this like little stuff. Well, eventually I was like, man, it's like I'm like losing my shit. Like I'm literally staying up like days at a time, fucking going through shit, like stalking him and shit like that. Like it's not healthy. It's really messing with me. I was like, I just need to like chill and like forget about it. And I was like, I'll go like use some drugs so that I can forget about it. Like literally, it'll take my mind off of it. Like I just won't think about it, won't give a fuck because I would try to not and try to like distract myself with something else. Nah, like I would just circle right back to square one. So yeah, so I kind of was doing is like block my emotions and what was going on like mentally and shit and whatnot. And so I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do it like once or twice, whatever. Like, and then I'm not gonna like take a couple days break and then maybe do it again, like so I don't get addicted. That didn't happen. But I've also noticed since I've become an addict, if I'm clean for a while, even when I was clean for like and I relapse one time, just one time, I will have some withdrawal symptoms afterwards.
So I guess your last relapse has been 4 years since the COVID, or 5 years?
2019, so 6 years.
So for the last 6 years you've been...
Yeah, and this is the longest relapse relapse that I've ever had.
Do you think this is the lowest you've been in your whole
Oh, absolutely.
state of addiction?
Absolutely. 100%. Yup, 100%. And like part of it, I feel like has to do with the xylazine shit that they're cutting it with because it is addictive on its own and it makes withdrawals 10 times worse, like I said, and if you don't do dope, like you go out and get regular dope without it in it, you'll still be sick. And the withdrawals are so much worse. Well, it makes it more difficult to get through. Like, I felt like I could barely make it through heroin withdrawals. This is like way different, like, and when I get sick enough and bad enough, it gets to the point where like I literally just don't give a fuck. Like, I've got like my mind set on like one thing and one thing only, you know, and like I just won't take care of myself, won't take care of anything, don't want to move, like just like things that like I normally wouldn't even do when I'm high, like, because it's just like that bad. And so it's at the point like I don't want to face that and go through that completely, and mentally I'm like I don't even know how to begin and how to push through that and do that. It's at the point like, and the xylazine, methadone, Suboxone doesn't touch it. It doesn't help it at all whatsoever, literally not whatsoever.
Is that what caused you to have your leg amputated?
Yes. Yep. So I got, wounds on it from the xylazine, and then I started shooting up in between like the wounds, and it all connected and turned into one giant wound. And I kept like I was going in both of my legs up and down, and I had wounds up and down both of my legs. Well, I started just letting them, and I was shooting up like in the wounds too because I didn't want to create new ones, which I don't know, that was my mental train of thought. I didn't want to create any more new ones. So I went to stop shooting up in my other wounds, like my two lower legs and my other thigh, so that they could heal. So I started just going in that one spot and keeping that one spot. So it just kept eating away to the point where by the time I got amputated, it was like a U. You could see my femur bone, and my femur bone was fracturing itself, like literally. And I mean, I had gone to the hospital multiple times, and they wanted to amputate it and stuff like that, and I would just say no and go AMA. By the time I actually let them amputate it that day, I tried to stand up out of my chair and I couldn't even stand up for some reason. Like, my legs just were not working. And I went in and I was so sick. Like, I was like, I'm tired of like being sick like this and going through this, like, because I would get real sick. So my blood count would get real low from it. And they explained it basically my body was so busy producing white blood cells that it stopped producing red blood cells. So my blood count would go down real low. I'd have to get blood transfusions and stuff, and I'd feel real sick when that would happen. So, I was just like kind of tired of it, but I felt sicker than I ever had before. Like, it was like worse, and I was like, oh my god, like, I don't even care. And I was literally at the point where like I was like, I don't care. I was like, and I wasn't even dope sick. I was just like sick. I was like, I don't care. I was like, I'm about to just let them take it so that this can end, and so when I went in there, the doctor came in, he said something about the amputation shit, and I was like, okay. I was like, well, I was like, you sure you can't just like debris, like do anything? He's like, no. He said, if I were to take you back and surgically clean that up, there'd be like literally nothing left of your leg, like a thin piece of like glass, like a thin piece of paper. He's like, I'm surprised, and I honestly don't even know how you're still walking on that, like at all. Like, it's amazing. So I found out later on. So he was like, we want to amputate it. And like I said, I was done. Like I knew like this time was different. And I told him, I said, okay. And he told her, he said, go get the paperwork. She was back in within like 2 minutes with the papers. I signed that, and I'm like, so when are you gonna, when's this happening? He goes, right now. He said, we're taking you back to emergency OR right now. And I was like, wow, okay. So within 20 minutes of being taken back into the ER, I was in surgery and asleep. to get my leg amputated. So when I woke up, I thought it was the next day. I found out I was in a 4-day coma, and I found out that I was in hemorrhagic shock. I was in septic shock. My blood count was down in the 2s, which is supposed to be 7 to 15, and they told my family, and this is shock trauma at University of Maryland, they told my family literally it's the worst case they've ever seen in their career, ever. They've never seen somebody's blood count so low and them still be conscious and not dead. It's literally the worst. And yeah, so I imagine they were probably pumping me with blood while they were cutting it off, and
How long ago was that?
actually just a little over a year ago, June 15th.
Oh, wow. Are you at risk of losing another limb now?
My hand is a little bad, my finger, and I don't even shoot up in my hand. I shoot up in my arm, but the way they described
Can I see it?
It's all wrapped up with balls, and I don't have any more. Otherwise, I would totally let you see.
So what exactly is wrong with your hand?
And so the way they describe it, because I don't shoot up in it, was basically it's all connected, so it traveled.
Mm-hmm.
One day I literally woke up and my finger right here was it hurt. It felt it literally felt like I sprained it or something, or jammed it. So I kind of taped it together, keep it up, make a little splint. But then I felt like I taped it a little too tight, and it was just kind of making it worse, so I took it off. And later on that day or the next day, it was even more swollen. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And it just kept it was swelling more and more and more, very quickly, very, very quickly. Not even within the next day, it was more a few hours later, it's way more swollen and shit. And it got to the point where it was stuck like this, and I couldn't unbend it, and I couldn't even take my hand and unbend it. So I'm what the hell? And then I got a blister right here on literally right here, and it was a huge blister. I popped it, and it came back, and I popped it, and it came back, and I popped it, and it came back, and I popped it. And then I read you shouldn't really do that. So I kind of stopped, and then I'd wrapped it up, and then when I came back and unwrapped it, this finger or whatever, it was so swollen. Honestly, it broke the skin right here and shit, and it was literally had a bunch of milky, pus stuff coming out of it, and real bad, and it was just huge wound for no reason. And right there where the blister was another wound. And then a couple days later, right down here in the palm of my hand, I got some random circle wound that looked like someone stabbed me in the hand with an Allen key. Yeah, and just right here on the finger, like I said, it was a wound of milky shit coming out. Well, the finger itself started turning purplish and stuff. I literally thought I had, and it even looked a little greenish. I thought I had gangrene. I actually went to the University of Maryland telling them that I'm 90% sure I have gangrene, because that's what it looked like, but it wasn't. But yeah, I don't know. It is insane. And I'm asking and by the time I went there too, mind you, it was only a week or two after it had started. Right here, you could see this white thing, and cause it was progressing very, 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 very quickly. And I asked, I'm like, oh my god, what is that? Is that my bone? He goes, no. He's like, that's your tendon. He's like, but your bone's right behind it. And I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck? Well, he said, he's like, we could perform all these miracles or whatever, and fix your finger. He's like, but your finger's just gonna be stuck like this forever. He's like, so it's honestly just gonna be in the way. He's like, you'd be better off letting us amputate it and moving your pinky closer to your middle finger. So I'm like, And I haven't gone back really. I mean, I went back kind of recently and went AMA.
Oh, so
again.
I guess you're really supposed to get your finger amputated now?
Well,
It's in
they
the
want to just because he said it would be like in the way, like, and I wouldn't be able to like move it again. But
Is it
like,
just wrapped in this shirt right now? So you have it wrapped in?
no, I have wrapped in gauze. I just keep the shirt because I don't want any like flies to land on my gauze and lay eggs on the gauze because I get paranoid that the eggs may get through the gauze and then I'll get like maggots in it. Like a lot of
Does
people
wound
get
care
it.
does wound care tend to your wounds?
Mhm.
Sweet. How often are you able to do that?
The van comes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then there's another one that comes occasionally, and there's Sparks and Paul's Place I've been to a couple of times,
Mm-hmm.
but I probably should go more often. I'm thinking about seeing if I can go to UMMC, like an outpatient thing or whatever, because I know they have it, because the doctor is telling me too in there when he's like, you want to take care of this or whatever. He's like, because he's like, you don't want to lose your finger. He said there was a girl that was in their outpatient clinic that would come in and she literally, her finger fell off, and that's what I was paranoid about. Dude, I was like, what if, like, when they were trying to get the wrapping off too, I'm like, what if you pull my finger off, like, or something, like, I'm like, what if it just falls off? Well, this girl's finger just fell off, and she would bring it into the clinic with her.
Sky,
Yeah.
what is keeping you out here, Sky?
Addiction. Other than that, I would not be out here. I'd be at home with my dog. I had 2 dogs and 2 cats, and literally just recently, like within the last week, one of my dogs killed both of my cats. So my father-in-law got rid of her, and he won't tell me where he got rid of her. And actually, ironically, I found her on Fulton across from Wilkins.
What's it gonna take you to beat addiction, Sky? Because the condition you're in,
Not good.
definitely not good, Sky.
No, not at all. And I don't know, I've been trying to think that one over. I've been trying to think about that, you know, like I need to really have a stronger mindset, stronger, you know, willpower and whatnot, you know.
Are you scared to be out here on these streets?
No, not really, to be honest. I mean, some things, sometimes, like, there are some, like, sketchy moments. Like, one time I went into an alley to go pee, and I got really, really sketched out because of a car that was at the end. Well, 2 people walked by, and then a white car was at the pulled like on the end and was just sitting there for like a minute, and then pulled off. And the alley has like a middle, and I don't know, just something in my gut was like, I feel like as soon as I walk past that middle, they're gonna like come out and like jump me, like. And then I hear like noises, and then you could hear rats, but I could tell the difference because the rats were like faster and like lighter steps. This was more like somebody trying to creep and sneak through the trash, and it was heavier. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like somebody's in that yard. And then the car came back again and was sitting there for like a minute and then left. So I turned around and I hightail wheeled my ass right back where I came from instead of going all the way to the other end, and got to the main street. So yeah, I don't know, it was really sketchy.
Are there a lot of women out here in wheelchairs?
Yeah, not really, but there are a couple. One girl, there is, and her name's Chastity, Chastity. Everybody confuses me for her too, especially when I first came down here. They would all call me Chastity and shit like that. And what sucks is like she's kind of doing some grimy shit too. So it sucks when people confuse me as her. Like, I was sitting somewhere once and I just randomly had this girl come up, and she's like, you owe me a Suboxone still. And I'm like, what? And she's like, you know what I'm talking. I was like, I don't even take Suboxone. Like, I don't even know like where to get it from. She's like, yeah, you do. You were with this person and you sold me like this many. Remember, blah blah. And I'm like, that wasn't me. I'm like, you're probably confusing me with the other girl in a wheelchair. She's like, no, it's definitely you. It's definitely you. I'm like, dude, ask anybody around here. I was like, there's another girl that she looks a little bit like me or something. Like, everybody confuses us. I was like, I promise you it wasn't me. And like, people told her, and she's like, oh, okay. Yeah, my bad. I was like, my name's Sky. Like, and she was like, oh, okay. Like, never mind. Just the other day, I had one of the, like, drug dealers from a hole come out. He just walked up to me and just like was like, and he goes, oh, okay, never mind, you're not Chastity. And I'm like, who knows what the hell he was about to say or do? Like the way he just kind of came up and bent down and was like, in my face, like it didn't seem like it was for anything good.
How do you support your drug habit?
Honestly, panhandling. At first, my husband's dad was sending me some money and stuff like that, but like he wants me to go to the hospital and shit like that, and then he had a gas card through like his company or whatever, but like he actually has to pay it at the end of the month, and I didn't know that the first time, and I was selling gas half price, and then I did know it the second time and still went back and did it again, and he cut me off completely. Before that, my husband was supporting it. So, yeah, now it's pretty much just panhandling.
Do people try to proposition you with drugs for sex?
Sometimes, but not too much. I've had a couple. There was a couple that I did take up on it. Just like the other night, some guy just asked me to flash him and let him masturbate. Well, I just rubbed myself for $10 for like literally 2 minutes. So I took that, but I try not to do like dates or anything like that because like, I don't know, I'm a little paranoid about catching something, that everybody just...
But you have done dates?
Yes, I have.
With other people that are actually out here in addiction as well, or these are just random people that stop to pick you up?
No, well, the one dude with $10, he was random, but the other ones were people that like I've been talking to. Well, I mean, I guess I can't say like I know them, but I've been talking to them and like friends with them.
Do you see yourself losing your life to this addiction?
Honestly, like my family and shit and all them, they think like I am and shit like that. But for some reason, I don't. Like, I feel like, and my mom hates it when I say this, like, I feel like I just can't die. Like, I don't know, like, everything, like, there's been so many situations where I should be gone, and, I'm not. And my mom hates that. She's like, your birth dad used to say that, you say I'm invincible, and you see where that ended up putting him, because he died very early on. The main cause was amitriptyline overdose, and the secondary cause was cocaine. We were told different stories. My aunt, the last story was that he purposely overdosed himself on amitriptyline and left a suicide note that she burned because it would cause family issues. My mom, she said he wasn't the suicidal type. So she thinks that, and my aunt never told me about the cocaine in the system. I found that out when I ordered his death certificate. So when I told my mom said that she's never known him to be suicidal at all, like at all. She said, but when they would get high together on cocaine and stuff, they would do Xanax to calm down. And he would always do more and more and more and more and more, and she would always be like, chill, like you're gonna end up killing yourself, like you're gonna take too much, you're gonna kill yourself, and he wouldn't listen. So she thinks he took the amitriptyline to try to calm down from doing the cocaine and ended up accidentally taking too much, like he would have almost did when they were together with the Xanax. So, yeah.
What do you think your purpose in life is, Sky?
Honestly, part of me is like unsure, but the other part of me is like I knew like obviously God's got a plan for me somewhere, else I wouldn't still be here, But I don't know. I feel like it is like maybe to help animals, maybe help other people too, know, especially with the shit that I have like been through and experienced, you know, like maybe I can, you know, help somebody else that would be, you know, going through the same thing or others. But I'm also just really into animals and like saving animals. So like, actually, was in school at CCBC for vet tech. So, you know, I want to go and finish that, and then when I'm done vet tech, I want to go for full veterinarian and end up opening my own vet clinic and my own like shelter refuge type thing. So that's the end goal. But I feel like I gotta stop wasting time because I'm getting old.
Do you think people that don't live this lifestyle need to see and hear your story?
Yes, and I feel like they need to honestly see it and hear like everybody's story because like you know, maybe it will help give them a perspective on like what actually is going on. Because like from the outside looking in, especially when you don't know, it's like these people like they just judge you as like someone that just you just want to get high, like you just don't want to stop, like you just you know like you're like they look at us like disposables, like you know waste of space, like a mosquito, you know, and they don't really understand that like it is a lot harder than it looks. Like it's not necessarily that like I want to get high anymore. It's that like I like mentally and shit. Like I can't bring myself to fight through the withdrawals like the whole time. And like that's part of what's like really holding me back is the sickness, because when it gets that bad and I can't move and like you know and another withdrawal, something that I get real bad is like you know like I feel like I want to just rip my skin off and shit, like, and I just want to like you know like throw myself like against things, but like I literally just want to rip my skin off and shit. It's insane. It's feelings that like you are unimaginable. They're unimaginable sensations that like you wouldn't really wish on anybody, and nobody understands this. People say withdrawals is like the flu. No, the hell it's not. Like especially these xylazine withdrawals, it is way worse and way different. And there's sensations and shit that, like I said, are unexplainable and unimaginable that you would only really know if you've been through it. And so these people don't understand that, you know, it's like that's really a lot of what holds people back. And then people that get clean, they end up relapsing and shit really because he has the mental cravings or, you know, other things that are going on and stuff like that. And I get that part, you know, but yeah, once you're in it, it's just really hard to get out of.
What's your biggest regret?
Right now, honestly, relapsing after I lost my leg because I was in a 4-day coma and a ketamine drip. So when I woke up, I was wondering why I wasn't like going through withdrawals or starting to go through withdrawals when I woke up, because I definitely thought I would. But like I said, I also didn't know I was in a 4-day coma yet either. Like I totally thought it was the next day. But yeah, I was like, this is weird. Like I'm not even like starting to feel sick or anything like that. And my husband came in when he got there and told me I was in a 4-day coma. And that's when I pieced it together that I basically comatose the withdrawals away, as well as the ketamine drip. So then when they amputated my leg, and a lot of people won't know this, when they amputate things that are infected, they don't close it up. They leave it wide open. They cut it off and they leave it open for however long to make sure that the infection is completely gone and drained before they close it back up, which that is an unimaginable, painful thing when they do bandage changes because of exposed nerves. Well, as soon as they closed my leg up, I left and went home, and actually like I wanted to smoke some crack, and I convinced my husband to bring me down here, and the guy that was serving me brought it, and he actually brought me 3 free dope caps. And I handed it right back to him, and I was like, oh, nah, I'm good. And he was like, oh, you're not fucking around anymore? I was like, nah, man. I was like, I'm trying to stay away from that. And so I did good for like a couple days after getting home, and then started doing it again. Because I thought like mentally the losing my leg was gonna kick in sometime soon, and I was gonna like kind of go berserko in my mind and be like really upset. So I was like, might as well start numbing myself like now. And then also it still was kind of already starting to mentally kind of bother me and shit, and cravings, regular cravings and shit. So yeah, I relapsed not long, a couple days after going home, which was about like a week and a half after the amputation. And I beat myself up for that one because I was given a blessing with that coma, not having to feel the withdrawals, not having to go through it, and I literally threw it away for what? Like, that is a regret.
Going back to your 15-year-old self, because no one knows Sky like Sky knows Sky.
Yeah.
What would you have told yourself to make you never use drugs a day in your life?
I would definitely tell myself that, like, it's definitely way worse than you can imagine, and you're gonna screw your entire life up. You're gonna throw everything away, you know, like you're gonna like literally just like be miserable, you know, like you're not gonna be happy, you know. Just don't do it. And it's funny because I actually used to be highly against drugs because it broke my parents up at a young age, and my mom was addicted to, she was a prostitute and an addict and didn't really take care of us, you know, and shit like that. And then she ended up getting clean when she met my stepdad, and he was abusive, so she ended up getting us in that situation and not getting us out. And then my dad died, like I said, and one of the causes was cocaine. So I was highly against it. And my first boyfriend, my fiance or whatever, went behind my back and did cocaine. And like kind of in spite, I went out and tried some crack so I could be like, it's so petty and childish and immature too, but so I could be like, oh, like you made me, you know, go and try, you know, crack when you know it's ruined like my whole life and childhood and stuff. Like, it's your fault, like, because you went behind my back and did it. Like, so immature. But that, I was 18, 19 years old, you know, so yeah. And then it started becoming more experimental of everything after that.
If you could say something to someone right now to inspire them to be the best them they could be, what is it you would tell them?
I tell them definitely do what makes them happy, like makes them like truly happy, not to like listen to other people, like let them affect them and, you know, take their joy away, and, you know, follow what you think's right and wrong. And don't go down, you know, dumb path. Everybody makes mistakes and does dumb shit, but like, you know, try to think about it and think about the long run and the consequences. And yeah, you know, just do you, be happy, you know. Don't let people take your joy.
And with that being said, we want to thank you for your time. We want to thank you for your honesty.
You're welcome.
And most importantly, we want to thank you for your story.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We're praying for you, Sky.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you again.